So last night, I actually changed the thermostat. I actually put a brand new thermostat in here just before the computer decided to do what it did and die on me. And I had a Reich thermostat in here for years. It's their 170-degree performance thermostat. And I thought the thermostat had stuck. So I went down to the local O'Reilly's and I got a Cobra thermostat. This is their 180 thermostat. And I put the 180 thermostat in it, and it started cooling, seemed to be fine. And then the computer did what it did. Now, when I say it was fine, I drove it for a couple of days, I don't know, a couple of weeks maybe, with the 180 in it, and it was running cool, it was doing fine. But now I'm having trouble where it's like no circulation. So I changed the thermostat out last night. This is a brand new Reich thermostat that I had. And I put that in it last night, and same kind of thing. When it comes up to temperature, the thermostat is not opening. So the only thing left in the system, I've drained it twice and refilled it, and now I've changed the thermostat and there's no circulation. The only thing left is the water pump. So I have a brand new water pump here, some Motorcraft, and I'm getting ready to put this on the car. And hopefully that's gonna fix my issues. And maybe I had an issue with the water pump going out previously and didn't know it, but I'm gonna put a brand new water pump on this thing and see if we can get this thing figured out. Okay, so here's the water pump side by side. They're actually identical. They're both Ford parts. But I wanna show you something very interesting. Look at the impeller on the one that came out versus the replacement. It's actually bigger. And as you know, bigger impeller is gonna flow more volume. Just a little interesting side-by-side comparison. They're both Ford parts, same part number. It's what they call the long snout, which is what you have to have for a 5.4 block. Part number 423. There's a short snout one as well, but that's for like the 4.6 motor. But yeah, just an interesting thing there between the two. Thought that would show you what that looks like. I also got a new O-ring. I forgot that when you get a new pump, it actually comes with the O-ring already installed. So I don't need this. I can take this back to the shop because I don't need it. That's only used if you're gonna put a water pump back in your engine and it was fine. You just pull that O-ring off, put a new one on. But this one's actually good to go. So what I'm gonna do is just put a little bit of grease around here so nothing tears when I go to put it in. And I slide this into place and we'll be good to go. But I just want to show you this impeller is slightly bigger, which if you look down in there, it's actually going to fit in there fine. There's no clearance issues fitting in there, but it will circulate more water, which is not a bad thing. So you remember when I thought I was going to outsmart myself and change this, what I called the water switch, for this one actual water sensor? We'll come to find out this one actually is just a resistor that makes the factory gauge work. And when I plug this one in, that's why my factory gauge didn't work. It was actually shorted out. So I got to put this back in, back here at the back of the intake. But because it's in such a difficult place, I actually had to remove the intake again to get to it. But instead of taking everything apart, I literally just unbolted the intake and pulled it up and over just so I can get to it and put this back in. Just save me the hassle of taking everything apart. So for now, I'm actually gonna put this switch back in that tube where it should have been and hook this to it. Good thing I didn't cut that wire loose, and then we'll be good to go. The one that was on the front actually is a water temp sensor that went to the computer, and that's the one going to my Holly now, and that one was fine, but this one actually went to the factory gauge on the dash, which was back here. So anyway, I gotta plug it back in and my gauge is gonna work. And the reason I know this, I took a heat gun to this while it was plugged in with the key on, and my factory gauge started working. So now the good news is all the factory gauges are gonna work. Now with that done and the new water pump, hopefully I can get the system bled through and get the thing to flow water again. Temperature gauge work now. All right, well, Holly's reading about, I mean, it's jumping all around, just like my gauge is jumping all around here. You can see it. But I got my air fuel working up in the other header since I'm not using the factory O2s. Temperature showing 174. You see on my factory gauge, it's working now too, right there. Gas gauge, tach, oil pressure, and battery's charging. Battery's charging 14.2. So now I'm just gonna try to pull it out and pull it around, pull it back in the other way. So see 178, and the gauge and all works. Definitely still learning. It's jumping all over the place. See, it's in learn status now. It gets a certain temperature, it'll start learning. So it's definitely learning now. But everything seems to be working. All the gauges are working. I definitely need to get the tune adjusted because that air fuel is just jumping around like crazy. I think it's just got to learn. I got to drive it more. But you can see my gauge with the swing, how much is jumping. But we're getting there. Slowly but surely. All right, this is just to show that all my gauges are working. Temp, fuel, speedometer, tach, air fuel, battery charging, oil, everything. Everything's working. I actually got it in gear. I'm on the left right now to show the speedometer's working. Holding good vacuum, like 21 pounds of vacuum. So I'm just running it through, letting the temperature warm up on it. I put a new water pump and thermostat on it. I've burped it a couple times now. I think I've got the air pocket out of it. Just trying to get to learn a little bit. But yeah, all the factory gauges are working. Just got to take the bulb out of the check engine light. The air fuel swinging widely, trying to learn. Let me see if I can capture all this. Okay, I'll simulate a drive off here.